Hello, Professor Berger's class. David Kaplan, reporter for Eyewitness News, coming to you. I was in Professor Berger's classes from 2013 to 2015. It's been a while, but great professor. She definitely inspired me and lit a fire in me of a love for journalism and reporting honest, ethical news. So listen to her, get on the runner. It's a great experience. And so today we're talking about emphasizing words when you're reading a script, when you're giving a report. But before we talk about emphasis, I want to talk about some other things that are important with your voice before we even get there. So we want to talk about strong vocal cords. So when I was a teenager and in college, I took guitar lessons, but my teacher also gave me some vocal tips. And first, you want to make sure that you're saying your words from your diaphragm. So from here and also from here. So you're getting breath when you can, and you're coming down from here and saying the word coming up. You don't want to say the word through your nose and sound nasally. And sometimes I've done that, and you just have to get through that and know where you're coming from here as opposed to coming from here. And you can hear the difference of where you're coming from. So that's one thing. You want to make sure, you're saying the words from the right place. Also, my guitar teacher would have me do before I would sing songs. We would say A-E-I-O-U. Say it with me. A-E-I-O-U. Now, my guitar teacher said that much louder, but you already feel weird when you do that, and it's okay. You gotta feel weird. Who cares what other people think if they're around you? You're doing it for a reason. So you're doing that, one, to loosen up your vocal cords and to work on the power, the strength, the volume, but you're also doing it for inflection as well as articulation, because you're going up and down, A-E-I-O-U, and see how wide I'm opening my mouth when I do that? So we're talking about this again because I know you guys are talking about emphasis, but if people can't hear you because of volume or you're not articulating, it doesn't matter what word you're emphasizing, right? So we gotta make sure that we're coming from the diaphragm, that we're projecting loud, and that we're articulating. So before you guys go on camera or are reading your scripts, I would suggest doing that. I started doing that a lot when I first started reporting, and I still do it before I go on a camera. So I'll do that, and some of my other warm-ups that I've learned from my theater classes at CSUB. Again, Go Runners, 2015 grad, where our theater class professor would have us say things like wide mouth bass, itty bitty frog, wide mouth bass, pocket, pits, bumblebee, bumblebee. Those tongue twisters are good for me because they work different letters, different parts of my tongue and parts of my mouth, and I really feel loose after that. And remember, your tongue is a muscle, right? So you have to exercise it, work it just like any other muscle in the body, and you have to do that regularly to keep it loose. So I will say those things before I read a script or go on camera. And the other ones that you know are fine too. Unique New York, Sally sold seashells, Betty bought her. Those are all good ones too. The big black bug. Okay, so we've loosened up our mouth. Now we're getting to emphasis. So I'm going to show you a script I just did. And as you can see, I highlight words, but also not just one word, but sometimes 2 or 3 words. It just depends what you want to emphasize. And so how do we know what to emphasize? I'm picking words to punch out that are either important, the most important part of the thought or the sentence, or they're surprising, that the viewer is not expecting, or maybe they're leading up to something. So you can see right here the words I highlighted slowed down but, constant flow, and remember, not. And that's the part I'll be live. And then the part below, the take vo for voiceover, years and more secure. So, for instance, it would sound something like, Dave Rochelle, the amount of voters dropping off ballots at the drop box here have slowed down, but I was here for over an hour this morning and there was a constant flow of voters dropping off their ballots. And remember, it's not even election day yet. So you can hear the different words that I was trying to punch out that are important. And as we go to the vote here, I spoke with people that say this is the first time they've voted in years. Voters tell me it seems more secure to them to fill out a mail-in ballot and then physically drop it off in person at the ballot drop box. So that was just a quick example. Believe me, there was more words I could have highlighted and emphasized. But remember, your voice is vital. I don't know about some of you, but I started out in radio, and you want your voice to sound so good if someone wasn't watching, because this happens sometimes. People are just listening to their TV, they're in the kitchen, they're eating, they're doing other stuff. They don't always see you. But your voice has to be powerful enough, because in this day and age, you're competing against Hulu, Netflix. I don't have to tell you all the other things. If someone's bored or they're not getting it, boom, you're one channel switch away from that person not watching you anymore, right? So another thing I wanted to point out was you can practice reading your script by over-articulating. So the purpose for doing that is my father is a pastor and he practices his sermons to get familiar with them over-articulating, because that's getting the script in your head, you're getting familiar with it. Also, you're loosening up your mouth and you're just practicing that muscle. And when you practice over-articulating, oftentimes it comes out just right how you want it to. So for instance, I would maybe practice reading my script. Dave Rochelle, the amount of voters dropping off ballots at the drop box here have slowed down, but I was here for over an hour this morning and there was a constant flow of voters dropping off their ballots. And remember, it's not even election day yet. So see how I'm opening my mouth wide and clear, letting all the letters come out. And again, that's just to practice. So maybe you are in a rush or you don't have time to do the tongue twisters or the other things we were talking about. So just practice reading your script like that, super articulated in practice so that it can come out just right. And I would also encourage you guys to think about and look at different reporters, anchors, news people, people on TV that do a good job of emphasizing, articulating, that have a good speaking voice. Growing up for me, Ryan Seacrest was huge on American Idol, and I listened to how he sounded, and my father and I would talk about how he did a great job, still does, of articulating, right? He's known for, this is American Idol, Seacrest out. And it doesn't sound fake or phony when he does it, because articulating is how he talks, and he's ingrained it into how he talks in his everyday dialogue or monologue, whether it's on radio now, Ryan and Kelly, or American Idol. So pick someone that you want to see how they sound, and you can try to channel them sometimes, and it'll be you, it'll be your own version, but they're just giving you someone to think about how they talk and try to emulate a little bit. So that could be, someone like Ryan Seacrest that's just on TV or a show. It could be someone at your local news station like Eyewitness News. So that's all I have for you guys. Hope that's good and gives you something to talk about and work on. If you have any questions, please let me know. And again, we can help each other out. I just moved back to Bakersfield, so I'm looking forward to meeting new people and getting story ideas, as well as I'm sure I'll have to interview students one of these days. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My professional Facebook page is David Kaplan, Kaplan, Eyewitness News. David Kaplan, Eyewitness News. And you can also email me, djkaplan@bakersfieldnow.com. D as in David, J as in Joshua, Kaplan@bakersfieldnow.com. So have fun and good luck with emphasizing.